The Second Great Awakening has swept through here in America. Charles Grandison Finney has urged Christians to join a crusade to get rid of slavery. I wish that I could help, even though it might be dangerous. Here in New York, mobs have broken up meetings that talk about freeing slaves. Mobs have also attacked the houses of abolitionists, people that want to end slavery here in the United States. Pa doesn't agree with slavery either, but he doesn't speak out against it the way that others have. I'm kind of glad for that though, because I don't want him to put himself in any danger. There have been some arguments about slavery. I don't think that anyone should have slaves, because as the Constitution states, all men are created equal. Other people think that doesn't apply to African Americans, but I think that it does. The Quakers have spoken out about slavery. They say that all men and women are equal, and it's a sin for someone to own someone else. I would agree with that, even though most of our neighbors own slaves. It's 1804, and slavery has finally ended in the North, but not the South. There are still lots of slaves in the South, and I wish that I could do something to help them. The American Colonization Society has promised to pay any slave owners that free their slaves, but that still isn't ending slavery. They are also trying to end slavery by taking freed slaves to Africa and setting up a colony for them. Not all freed slaves want to go to Africa though. I've heard several freed slaves saying that they don't want to leave the United States because they were born here. Other freed slaves have said they want to leave the United States because they'll never have equal rights here. I don't know if their lives will be better in Africa or not, but I can understand not wanting to leave the place that I was born. When Pa isn't around, I have sneak glances at the Freedom's Journal, which makes me want to help get rid of slavery even more. They write about the horrible treatment of slaves, and it makes me ache for the horrible things that slaves have to go through. David Walker, who is an African-American abolitionist, published Appeal to the Colored Citizens of the World. It encourages slaves that aren't free to free themselves any way that they can. Frederick Douglass has been here lecturing against slavery, and I wonder how much courage it took to speak out against slavery. He also started publishing an anti-slavery newspaper called the North Star. William Lloyd Garrison has started the newspaper called The Liberator, which is another anti-slavery newspaper. I hope that all of these anti-slavery newspapers will help to put an end to slavery. William Lloyd Garrison was also one of the founders of the New England Anti-Slavery Society. Angelina and Sarah Grimke hate slavery more than I do. I snuck off to one of their lectures, and I couldn't believe how many people were there. They talk about how horrible slavery is, and defend their right to speak out against slavery, just like some of the men do. Some people are worried that if slaves are freed, they'll go north and take jobs for them, because slaves would be willing to work for low pay. Some of the people want slaves so much that in the South, slave owners are actually defending slavery. They say that if slaves are treated well, then they wouldn't want to be freed. They would want to serve their masters. Some Southerners think that slavery is essential to the economy. They think that Northerners are trying to hurt their way of life. I hope that sometime in the future, slaves will be freed because they deserve the same freedoms that white people get.